Hi guys, I'm going to jump back on the AT-1 conversion to CT-1 today, and I I got some new cases, and I was real proud of myself. I thought I'd really got some good ones, and after I started looking at them a little bit, I wasn't quite as happy with them, but I can still make them work. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I got them apart. These, and matter of fact, these are pretty cool because they're CT-1 cases. So I got CT-1 cases, and they are in pretty good shape. I mean, they really look good. It's got a little bit of a, let me show you here. It's got just a little bit of a chain slap right here, the same place as the other one, but it didn't bust it up like the other one did. So I'm good there. I just took a file and just run across this real good just to kind of get this lip off here. And let me show you what I'm not happy about. You can see along the parting line here where somebody, when they were taking it apart, they stuck a screwdriver in there and pried on it. So they've got their pecker marks all over this thing, which is terrible. And what I did was I did the same thing. I just took my file and just very slowly and tried to always keep it on all the surfaces so everything would be flat, still remain flat. So I've got it filed down pretty good, just the high spots really off, but it's just so disheartening to see what people do. This was a very nice set of cases, and somebody stuck a screwdriver in between them. It's very important that you take these apart with a puller and a plastic hammer. Never, never, never stick a screwdriver between them and pry. I think we'll be all right, you know, because these do use Yamaha bond. I've got this 3-bond 1211. I think that's what Kawasaki uses, but anyhow, I think we'll be all right. Everything, for the most part, looks like it'll be okay. But it's just very disheartening to see that when you get, you know, I think I gave about $85 for this set of cases plus shipping. So I thought I was getting a good deal, and maybe I have. But anyhow, what I'm really happy about is they are CT-1 cases, which really doesn't make any difference. It's I mean, they're still the same case as the AT-1, but you know, it's just got the CT-1 moniker on it. What I'm going to do here right now, this one actually came with no bearing here, and I'm wondering, I kind of tried one in there, and it feels like it's kind of a loose fit. So I'll probably end up having to put some Loctite on that one just to make sure. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over to the press, and I'm going to take these other 3 bearings out. So let's get on with it here. Okay, I'm over to the press now. And I just want to let you know that whenever you're doing something like this, always back up your bearing when you're pressing this out. Make sure that that's the side that it comes out of, for sure. And then, in this case, I just found a piece of pipe that will fit around the bearing loosely so that the bearing can come out. And then, you know, since we're not reusing these bearings, we don't we're going to press wherever we want to on them to get them apart. But normally you only press on the outside race part of the bearing. So let's take this one out. So there we go, good clean job. Both bearings are out of that. And the same on these. These are all the same diameter of bearing. Now, take a look at this one. See, this one here presses to the outside because this is a retainer. It's a retainer back here. On the other side, we had the little metal strap piece here to retain it from this side. So you want to make sure that you look to see which way they come out of. And there we go. Now, I had already driven out the needle bearings. You've got two needle bearings here that are the same, and one of them goes right here, and the other one goes in the case right here. And before you take those out, make sure that you see and make a note of how they're in there. In this case, you see this cutout here on the left side case. This is the magneto side. The surface is down to flush with the surface in this notch. So pay attention to that because you're going to have a seal that goes right here for your clutch rod. And on this side, it's basically the same. You're down to this area here. So just make a note of that when you take them out. And in this case, all I did was I got a socket that was the right size that would still go through the hole and drive the bearing as far out on the outside as you can do it. And these come out real easy. Just take and drive them out with a hammer. They come out real easy. I just actually took one of these bearings and placed it here, and I guess it does fit pretty tight. This is not the right one for this side. This it was already missing when I did it. It's got a bigger. It's the only one that's different out of the three. It's got a bigger hole here in the middle, but the outside part's the same. So all that looks like that'll work, and I think I'm just going to clean up these cases a little bit more. I'm going to put them, get them as clean as I can, put them in the ultrasonic cleaner, and before I put the bearings back in. And what we'll do to put the bearings in is we'll heat these up, and the bearings will just drop in. You heat them up to about 400 degrees, and you can just drop the bearings in. You don't have to worry about it. Ultrasonic cleaner just shut off. They come out of there looking pretty good most of the time. Put the other half in. I want to show you what's going on outside. This is filming this on May 20th. What do you think? Sucks, doesn't it? Just the way it is, I guess. Then I get this blown out and get it dried off now. Okay, I got all the bearings in. I didn't want to take you in the house and see how the wife didn't really want me to use her oven for that, but we got her done. I've got a little oven out here, but it's not big enough to put this stuff in. I just use it to heat treat stuff with mostly. Anyway, I got the bearings in, and this one was loose in the bore. It was too loose, so I used Loctite. This is a retaining compound for a slip fit, and that's basically what it was. Even cold it was. Before I tried it again before I took it in the house and heated them up, and it's just too loose. That was probably the reason they got rid of these cases were pretty nice except for the screwdriver marks. So I've got a feeling it spun a bearing, but this retaining compound will hold it in there. It's good to 180 Celsius. I believe it's about 360 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll never see that much heat down there. So anyway, got all the bearings back in. Getting ready to put the retainer in here, and again we'll use a little Loctite on it, but this is just the regular blue. Most of these Loctites that I use anyway, even up to the red, if you need to get them loose, all you got to do is heat it up a little bit and they come loose. But blue, you never have to worry about it. It'll come loose when you want it to, but not when you don't. Better loosen them back up so I can get this last one in. So remember that if you've got a loose one. I've seen people, and you know I'm guilty of it too, maybe not on motorcycles, but other things where you just take a punch and a hammer and you kind of dimple it inside. But I just, you know, in this day and age, you don't need to do kind of stuff like that. That was old things when you didn't have other ways to take care of it. But in this case, the slip fit, and they also make a press fit, the 609 for press fit stuff. But this was, it should have been a press fit, but it was a slip fit, so that's why we used the slip fit retaining compound. Anyway, we're making some progress. I'm still waiting on some parts. I may try to load this in the morning. As far as the transmission goes, I've still got to do the crankshaft. So let's get our seals installed. The one on the crank side, I mean the crankshaft seal for the clutch side is a double lip seal. It's got a spring and a lip on both sides, so it doesn't matter which way it goes in. But you just need to make sure that the seal and the springs are on there and stay on during the installation. I like to just put a little bit of the black RTV in there, not much, just a little bit, just to kind of help hold it in. And I've got a little seal installer here. Everything looks like it's going in okay. Alright, there we go. I just kind of like to take a mirror and look back there and make sure that spring on the other side is still there. Normally, if it would pop out, you would see it laying in here, but I just like to see it's where it's supposed to be. Okay, so this one is done. And we've got the magneto side here, same thing. Of course, this is just a standard seal, one lip. For the most part, these are just flush. You don't have to pound them down against the bearing or anything. All right, counter shaft. Got a little extra in there. I don't need that down there in my bearing. These seals you can just about push them in with your fingers most of the time. That's why I like the RTV on them. It helps hold them in. Okay. And let's see, shift rod. And for that one, I just got a little socket here. And you can kind of start them by hand. That way you can make sure that they're square. Okay. And the clutch rod. I think I'm going to try to put this one on the seal, or put the stuff on the seal. I don't want any of that getting in that needle bearing. Okay, seals are all in, for these cases anyway. Let's flip this over. Just going to put a little oil into this needle bearing. Spin it around a little bit. And the same with our counter shaft bearing. So I'll get some in here. All right. Now, so we can kind of see all this. Let's get all our We've got all our thrust washers on. Now we've got to get our little trunnions on the shift forks. So put some grease on them so they'll stay there while you're messing around with them. like that. Everything's good on these. I looked them over and they are everything where they ought to be and in good shape. Let's see, our trunnion is, we're looking for the dimple to make sure it goes up here. See if I can get this all lined up here. That's about the gist of it. I'll get in there. So close, but so far. Yep. It's kind of giving me a hard time, but I think I got it all to fall in. I just pulled this one pin out, and that seemed to help. All right. Looks like we're about where we need to be. There's detent right there, and the bearing for the neutral switch is right there. And we're all in. Okay. Get the detent in there. Got some grease here for the ball to kind of hold that in place while I'm turning this upside down. So that should be in neutral. And then we'll have this gear goes up there. It's the only one that's not captured. All right. Get a little grease on this countershaft collar. I'm just going to put this on to make sure everything stays put right now. We'll put new ones on. That one must be for the one for the clutch. Okay. Just to hold it in, I've got the clip in here. I've got to make a gasket. It doesn't seem like the gaskets are available anymore, so I'll make one and put that together. Okay, I've got a gasket made here. Looks like it fits pretty good. And I'm just going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these. And got a new cover actually. Looks a little different than the original one. It's probably a replacement for the other one that they're probably using on new bikes these days. All right. Get our neutral safety switch. Oh, that's looking kind of nasty. It's kind of rusty. Let me go take care of the rust. Okay, can't have rust on something like that. Got a gasket on it. Seems like it's still in good shape, so I'm going to leave it. So there we are. I think that's about as far as I can go until I get my crankshaft. So we'll cover it up, and as soon as I get the parts for the crankshaft and I can rebuild it, then we'll get this put back together. So, same old spiel. If you like what you see, if you like what we're doing here, please give me a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. If you already have, thank you very much. We've got a lot of content yet on this bike. Gosh, this one's just starting. And then we've got also the Suzuki TS250 that we're working on. So if you would, help me out with some likes and subscriptions, and I'll keep putting the content up. And if you've got any comments, put them down. I'll try to answer them for you. And I guess that's about it for today. So thanks for going along on the ride, and see you in the next video.